Why this story matters: this piece offers a constructive counterpoint to the constant stream of negative news. Quick summary: this story highlights recent developments related to climate environment, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. This story was originally published by Next City, a non-profit newsroom reporting on solutions for equitable and just cities, and the CivicLex Weekly, a newsroom covering local government in Lexington, Kentucky. Key myths tend to shape how people talk about Kentucky and climate change. One is that the state is a climate haven, insulated from the worst effects of global warming. The other is that Kentuckians are hostile to climate action. Officials pushing for change, researchers, environmental directors, and more say their conversations around climate are more nuanced than a red or blue ticket makes it look. Would you like to read more good news about climate environment, climate change, rural, community, and democracy? Kentucky is the sixth most climate vulnerable state, according to a report by Texas A&M University and the nonprofit Environmental Defense Fund. From 2020 to 2024, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration documented $20 billion climate disasters in the state, including tornadoes that killed more than 50 people in western Kentucky and flash floods that killed 39 in the east. From the outside, the Commonwealth's politicians and residents, largely rural, with a reputation for voting conservative, may appear indifferent. Last year, state leaders passed SB 89, removing groundwater and wetland protections, and stood by President Donald Trump as he signed executive orders to boost the coal industry. I'm delighted to share that that is a false assumption. And absolutely, it is an assumption that people make, says Lauren Cagle, a professor at the University of Kentucky specializing in climate rhetoric. Jada Walker-Griggs is the senior program manager in sustainability for Lexington Fayette Urban City Government. Locally, municipalities varying in population density, income levels, and industry are teaming up to strengthen their own communities' climate resilience through a 6-county regional climate action plan. The draft Central Kentucky Climate Action Plan, published last fall through an Environmental Protection Agency grant, targets an area of more than 500,000 people. Their leaders say neither politics nor an urban-rural divide can predict the popularity and effectiveness of climate action. There are 3 parts to this, and it includes the environment, the people, and the economy. We believe if we focus on those 3 areas, then we can make our community stronger. Jada Walker-Griggs, the senior program manager in sustainability for Lexington Fayette Urban City Government, explains. Under the plan, the 6 counties Bourbon, Clark, Fayette, Jasmine, Scott, and Woodford, as well as municipal governments within, will collaborate to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 28% by 2035 and 40% by 2050 as compared to 2020 levels. Since the early 90s, we have seen this attempt to pit local and global versus each other. We've seen this attempt to pit individual choice versus systemic change against each other. And we've seen this attempt to pit urban versus rural. And these are all false choices, says Cagle, who has closely followed the Climate Action Plan's development. Regardless of federal and state action, the region is prioritizing initiatives that push actions countering and mitigating climate change. After all, Lexington aims to be carbon neutral by 2050. Since 2004, the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government has implemented an energy management plan to reduce consumption of fuel, and leaders commissioned a greenhouse gas inventory in 2010. They had already published a sustainability plan as far back as 2012 under Empower Lexington. But in 2023, when officials searched for implementation grants, they realized more funding would be accessible if they included the entire Lexington metropolitan statistical area. That's not only Fayette County, Griggs said. That's Clark County and Scott and Bourbon and Jasmine and Woodford counties, and then their municipal governments. Fayette County fared better than most of the Commonwealth in Texas, AM's report, scoring in the 58th percentile for climate vulnerability. While it doesn't experience many extreme weather events, the area's environmental factors like land use and pollution dragged down its score. Nearby Clark County ranked in the 91st percentile nationwide, and Bourbon County ranked 96th. The contrast between those counties, according to the report, is largely due to infrastructure differences and residents' physical health. The Central Kentucky Climate Action Plan, which shows how these governments can work in tandem to reduce harmful emissions, is funded by a $1 million EPA grant. It's a collection of 2 documents. The Priority Climate Action Plan provides quick, high-impact changes for central Kentucky communities to adopt, including plans for studying the need for electric vehicle charging stations across the region, planting a stronger urban tree canopy in Lexington to help mitigate rising temperatures, building upon the work of the local program Solarize Lexington, which provides residential solar to homeowners and other property owners at discounted rates. The Comprehensive Climate Action Plan offers a more thorough analysis for long-term growth based on detailed data about each county's vulnerabilities, economics, and how their emissions and goals vary by region and demographics. Its recommendations include scaling up the work of Solarize Lexington to include the entire six-county MSA, considering a smart agriculture coalition, which would lead outreach on fertilizer use, plant breeding, and other environmental factors for farmers in the MSA, implementing electric bus fleets for public transportation for Fayette County, Lexington, and beyond, long-term development of education materials and campaigns showing the benefits of these initiatives. Grids explains it's vital that people across the region understand the very basics of climate change and pollution, as well as where these actions help. That's part of why the Climate Action Plan has gone through multiple rounds of community input, from public focus group gatherings to community ambassadors. W. Hen Cagle attended one of these focus groups in Lexington. She was amazed at how many passionate people showed up. It was so packed away.